There we go. That should have pretty much done it. Oof. Probably be a bit closer. Well, thank you all for being here much more promptly than I was. So we're actually a day before the full moon, I believe, but due to things happening, we will perform it today. So welcome as usual into the first Ryaku Fusatsu ceremony of 2023. So a happy new year to you all. I hope you're all well and got through the holiday season with sufficient amounts of joy. We should begin as usual with a short period of Zazen. I want to assume your sitting position. We begin the ceremony with an offering of incense. And at the end of this, there will be prostrations, and you're welcome.
One quick thing, Koku. Can you turn on your original sound? You've got no bells whatsoever.
Thanks, Bjorn. I'll just do a test bell to see if it's better. Is it better? Brilliant, thank you. Okay. So I was saying there will be prostrations at the end of incense offering with a bell roll down. And you're welcome either to do that as a full prostration from standing or from seated. You can just do a deep gasho. So. The great precepts of Gautama Buddha were kept by all Buddhas. They were transmitted from Buddha to Buddha, and they were received by ancestor after ancestor. Our great master Gautama Buddha transmitted the precepts to Master Mahakasyapa. Master Mahakasyapa transmitted the precepts to Master Ananda, and the transmission of the precepts has continued in this way, passing from orthodox successor to orthodox successor in one line. Now we reaffirm our commitment to the precepts, to return the profound benevolence of Gautama Buddha. We trust this to be the true reception of Gautama Buddha's wisdom and life. Respectfully following the approval of Gautama Buddha, we would like to devote ourselves to the precepts, beginning with atoning for past misdeeds. So now we all together recite the verse of atonement 3 times, and feel free to add a gaosho after each recitation. All harmful acts, words and thoughts ever committed by me since of old, on account of beginningless greed, anger and ignorance, born of my body, mouth and mind, now I atone for them all. All harmful acts, words and thoughts ever committed by me since of old, on account of beginningless greed, anger and ignorance, born of my body, mouth and mind, now I atone for them all. All harmful acts, words and thoughts ever committed by me since of old, on account of beginningless greed, anger and ignorance, born of my body, mouth and mind, now I atone for them all. We now invoke the presence of the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas as symbols of the perfection of the practice of the precepts and of witnesses of our own commitment to follow the precepts. Homage to the 7 Buddhas of the past as symbols of our connection through time. Homage to Shakya Muni Buddha, a person of this earth. Homage to Miroku Buddha, a symbol of hope for the future. Homage to Monju Bodhisattva, a symbol of great wisdom. Homage to Fugan Bodhisattva, a symbol of great activity. Homage to Kanzeon Bodhisattva, symbol of great compassion. Homage to the successive generations of ancestor Bodhisattvas. We now symbolically purify ourselves of all the deeds that we have atoned for. Our Buddha nature is inherently pure, but we can still commit wrongdoing in the world and harmfully affect ourselves and others. So we just symbolically purify ourselves with that to wipe the slate clean for the month going forward. So you take your greenery, your fingers, and your water, real or imagined, and just flick it over your forehead 3 times. So now we're all purified symbolically. We can go on to recommit to the precepts. And this month I'm going to read from some Dogen, from his Shobogenzo fascicle, Gyoji, which means continuous practice. And practice is always continuous, and that is specifically true, or particularly true, in our observance of the precepts. However long and however carefully we observe the precepts, the next moment is a new one, the next action a new one, the next thought, the next speech. So we can never stop being aware of our thoughts, words and actions, as it says in the verse of atonement. So all you disciples of the Buddha, join your palms in reverence and listen wholeheartedly. In the great truth of the Buddhist patriarchs, there is always pure conduct, an observance of precepts above which there is nothing greater. It continues in an unbroken cycle, so there is not the slightest interval between establishment of the mind, training, bodhi, and nirvana. Conduct and observance is a continuous cycle. For this reason, it is not doing that is forced from ourselves, and it is not doing that is forced from outside. It is conduct and observance that has never been tainted. The virtue of this conduct and observance maintains ourselves and maintains the outside world. The import is that in the moment of my conduct and observance, the whole earth and whole sky, through the 10 directions, are totally covered by the virtue of my conduct and observance. Others do not know this, and I do not know it, but it is so. Thus, through the conduct and observance of the Buddhas and the patriarchs, our own conduct and observance is realized, and our own great state of truth is penetrated. It is due to our own conduct and observance that the virtue of this cycle exists. Through this means, every Buddha and every patriarch abides as Buddha, transcends as Buddha, realizes the mind as Buddha, and it realized as Buddha without any interruption. Through this conduct and observance, the earth and space exist. Through this conduct and observance, object and subject, body and mind exist. Through this conduct and observance, the 4 elements and 5 aggregates exist. Conduct and observance is not loved by worldly people, but it may be the real refuge of all beings. Through the conduct and observance of the Buddhas of the past, present, and future, the Buddhas of the past, present, and future are realized. And so, we begin with our recommitment to the 16 Bodhisattva Zen precepts with the 3 refuges. So we all recite with our hands in Gasho. Respectful devotion to Buddha. Respectful devotion to Dharma. Respectful devotion to Sangha. Devotion to Buddha, the Supreme One. Devotion to Dharma, the supreme purity and teaching. Devotion to Sangha, the supreme community. Perfect devotion to Buddha. Perfect devotion to Dharma. Perfect devotion to Sangha. And we continue with the 3 pure precepts. Today we reaffirm our commitment to seek as we can in this body and life to avoid doing harm. To seek as we can in this body and life to live in a healthful and helping way, doing good. To seek as we can in this body and life to live for the benefit of all sentient beings. Now the 10 fundamental precepts. Today we reaffirm our commitment to seek as we can in this body and life to refrain from the killing of life. To seek as we can in this body and life to live in generosity and refrain from taking that which is not given. To seek as we can in this body and life to refrain from misusing sexuality and all desire. To seek as we can in this body and life to refrain from false and malicious speech. To seek as we can in this body and life to refrain from intoxication in its many forms. To seek as we can in this body and life to refrain from unconstructively criticizing the errors and faults of others. To seek as we can in this body and life to refrain from praising ourselves and judging others. To seek as we can in this body and life to refrain from stinginess in bestowing the Buddhist teachings and all precious things. To seek as we can in this body and life to refrain from all anger. To seek as we can in this body and life to refrain from disparaging the 3 treasures, Buddha, Dharma, Sangha. Having recommitted to the precepts, we recite together the 4 Bodhisattva vows as we usually do. To save all sentient beings, though beings numberless. To transform all delusions, though delusions inexhaustible. To perceive reality, though reality is boundless. To attain the enlightened way, a way non-attainable, to save all sentient beings, though beings numberless, to transform all delusions, though delusions inexhaustible, to perceive reality, though reality is boundless, to attain the enlightened way, a way non-attainable, to save all sentient beings, though beings numberless, to transform all delusions, though delusions inexhaustible, to perceive reality, though reality is boundless, to attain the enlightened way, a way non-attainable. Abiding in this ephemeral world, may we exist in muddy water with purity like a lotus. Nothing escapes the boundless mind. Thus we bow to Buddha. We end with the dedication. I just want to say there'll be no surprise prostrations this week. You're all good. Buddha nature pervades the whole universe. Reality existing right here now. In reaffirming our commitments to the precepts, we dedicate our sincere efforts to Shakyamuni Buddha, Honored One, the historical Buddha and teacher, to the all-pervading and everlasting three treasures, to all Arhats and Bodhisattvas, Mahasattvas, and their relations throughout the Dharma worlds. May our sincere vows to accomplish and live the enlightened way be realized together. All Buddhas throughout space and time, all Bodhisattvas, Mahasattvas, Maha Prajna Paramita. Thank you very much for coming for that part of the ceremony. I forgot to say at the beginning, we have taken to adding on to the ceremony a recitation of the ancestor lineage, but that's not compulsory by any means. So if you don't have the extra 15-20 minutes to spare, or it's just not your thing, then feel free to leave now, and thank you for joining for the recommitment to the precepts. So today we'll be reciting the blood lineage, which is at present all male ancestors. We did the female ancestors last time, but today will be the blood lineage. The Dharma passes from ancestor to ancestor, transmitted from warm hand to warm hand. We now remember the successive generations of Buddhas and ancestors who transmitted the flame. Bibashi Butsu Daiyosho, Shiki Butsu Daiyosho, Bishafu Butsu Daiyosho, Kuruson Butsu Daiyosho, Kunagon Muni Butsu Daiyosho, Kasho Butsu Daiyosho, Shakyamuni Butsu Daiyosho, Maka Kashyo Daiyosho, Ananda Daiyosho, Shona Washu Daiyosho, Ubaki Kuta Daiyosho, Daitaka Daiyosho, Nishaka Daiyosho, Bashu Mitsu Daiyosho, Butsuda Nandai Daiyosho, Fuda Mita Daiyosho, Bari Shiba Daiyosho, Funa Yasha Daiyosho, Anabote Daiyosho, Kabi Mora Daiyosho, Nagyara Juna Daiyosho, Kana Daiba Daiyosho, Rago Rata Daiyosho, Sogya Nandai Daiyosho, Kaya Shata Daiyosho, Kumo Rata Daiyosho, Shayata Daiyosho, Bashu Banzu Daiyosho, Manura Daiyosho, Kakuro Kuna Daiyosho, Shishi Bodai Daiyosho, Bashya Shita Daiyosho, Funyo Mita Daiyosho, Hanya Tara Daiyosho, Odai Daruma Daiyosho, Taiso Eka Daiyosho, Kanchi Sosan Daiyosho, Dai Doshin Daiyosho, Daiman Konin Daiyosho, Daikan Eno Daiyosho, Seigan Gyoshi Daiyosho, Sekito Kisen Daiyosho Yakusan Nigan Daiyosho Ungan Donjo Daiyosho Tozan Ryokai Daiyosho Ungo Doyo Daiyosho Doan Dohi Daiyosho Doan Kanshi Daiyosho Ryozan Enkan Daiyosho Taiyo Kyogen Daiyosho Tosu Gisei Daiyosho Fuyo Doke Dukai Daiyosho Tanka Shijun Daiyosho Choro Seiryo Daiyosho Tendo Sokaku Daiyosho Secho Chikan Daiyosho Tendo Nyoho Daiyosho Eihei Dogen Daiyosho Koen Eijo Daiyosho Kaisan Jokin Daiyosho Gasan Joseki Daiyosho Taigen Soshin Daiyosho Baisan Monpon Daiyosho Jochu Tengin Daiyosho Sekiso Enchu Daiyosho Taigan Sobai Daiyosho Kenso Joshin Daiyosho Jisan Ekun Daiyosho Daichu Reijo Daiyosho Nano Ryokun Daiyosho Daiju Ryozon Daiyosho Hogan Zensatsu Daiyosho Ryozan Chosen Daiyosho Kishu Gensho Daiyosho Kigai Mono Daiyosho Kanshu Taisatsu Daiyosho Tenso Juntetsu Daiyosho Kenkoku Kaisatsu Daiyosho Raiten Gensatsu Daiyosho Kengan Satsu Daiyosho Hokoku Satsuyu Daiyosho Rote Shushoshuku Daiyosho Fuho Tatsuden Daiyosho Kachu Jakakuchu Daiyosho Bunzan Korin Daiyosho Daichu Bunki Daiyosho Shoko bunge daiyosho. Roshu ezen daiyosho. Resai emon daiyosho. Tokizue tenrin daiyosho. Shogaku rinzue daiyosho. Butsuzan zuimyo daiyosho. Bukan myokoku daiyosho. Butsuan emyo daiyosho. Zugaku rempo daiyosho. Gudo wafu daiyosho. We dedicate these efforts to the three treasures, Buddha, Dharma, Sangha, to all awakened ones and teachers in all places and times, and to all other honored ones throughout history, same yet diverse honored ones, whose names have been forgotten or left unsaid. May we appreciate their benevolence and show our gratitude by realizing the Buddha way together. All Buddhas throughout space and time, all Bodhisattvas, Mahasattvas, Maha Prajna Paramita. Thank you so much for staying with that. I do think that ancestor recitation is a really good thing to do, and we can see the unbroken lineage that comes from Shakyamuni Buddha, the historical Buddha, through a list of names. Some of them we know a little about, others are just monks, well, probably abbots, who did their job, passed on the teachings, but very little has been recorded about them through history. But nevertheless, they played their role in passing on the Dharma so that we can be here today, practicing in it. And maybe we too, in some small way, will be part of passing on the Dharma or helping someone out. Our name may or may not appear on a list of ancestor recitations in the future. But as it says, we remember those who are forgotten and left unsaid as well. All those people who played roles in the temples, whether it was as a cook, cleaner, whatever they did, tended the garden. All of them have been important in keeping the Buddha way spreading to this time. So when we do small things around the Sangha, we may not think it's of great importance, but all of it helps the Buddha way to be passed on. And I just think reciting this list of ancestors helps us to understand that. So anyway, thank you so much for coming. It's so lovely to see you and to sit and practice with you and recommit to the precepts. So I hope you have a good month, and hopefully I will see you at the next full moon in February. So until then, take care. If you got something to say, just a thumbs up. Okay. Okay, take care, all of you, and thank you so much. Go well.
No, Jinkan left.
Did you need to? Hang on, I'll just end the stream.